Good morning. This is the 22nd of June, 2023. Summer is upon us. It's hot and steamy and all that nonsense is going to be that way for months, seemingly on end now, but it is what it is. And what we got today on the table, we're looking at dreaded flags, naval conflict in the age of piracy, 1568 to 1720. And it was designed by, let's go right here. And I just looked at it before I sat down, or I would have done a little bit more, I'd have done research on it. But I know this is a Wouter, I think that's, it's an old name. It comes from the High German. I know that name, it's a High German word. And Schoutteten. That name, I'm not really exactly sure. This comes from a High German. It could be Dutch. It could be, Austrian maybe. This here, I'm not exactly sure. Could be German, but it seems somewhat Gaelic to me. The reason I'm going into this is obviously I'm a linguist, so that's interesting. So I found that an interesting name, and I haven't seen anything else by this designer. So I was wondering if it was a pen name or if it was could be. It seems Belgian to me, but again, I can be totally wrong. But Wouter. Don't mean any disrespect by trying to figure out the name. It's just me and my own oddities, if you will, my own eccentricities. So, but we're looking at it, and this is a very cool book. When I looked at this, well, let's look at the blurb first of all. You see we have some counters here. Let's look at the blurb first of all. In Dreaded Flags, players refight historical naval conflicts between small fleets in the age of piracy. Players take command of one or more ships in battles between privateers, pirates, and or pirate hunters. Very cool. Very cool. And, there's a lot of Age of Sail games, right? Wooden Ships and Iron Men was always one I played, liked to play. Multiplayer. It's a pretty good game to get in at a convention. Others. And I love pirate games, by the way. Blackbeard by Avalon Hill. It was the Richard Byrd game. Love that as a solitaire game or as a multiplayer experience. But that's another great game. And I was thinking, I can't think of a lot of great, this is a great blurb. We're not going to take the time to read it. Pirate games. And this is exactly what I was talking about. And then I come across this. A note from the designer, which I love the notes. Thank you for buying Dreaded Flags. You're welcome. Thank you for producing it. When researching the topic of piracy in the Caribbean and the American colonies in board games, I almost solely discovered games that focus on fantasy elements or the romanticized history of piracy. Yep, that's absolutely true. My intent is always in learning the facts behind the legends. So what tactics did these legendary pirates actually use? How skilled were these captains and their crews? This historical approach is the backbone of the game. Very cool. I couldn't ask for more there. All scenarios are based in inspired by actual events. Each scenario comes with the historical backstory, and in the rule book you will find notes on the historical logic behind certain rules. Love that as well. Still, you will find scenarios with everything you would expect from a naval game on pirates. There is gold to be found, pirate hunters to avoid, and merchants to rob. Dreaded Flags is also an action-packed, fast-paced, fairly light system. While it delivers a historical simulation, it is also plain fun to play. That's the most important thing. This is my first game, and I hope you will spend many hours enjoying it. I hope so too. It's very, very neat. And again, it's in this book form. And I'm going to tell you straight up right now, if you go back and look at my videos from years ago, I was said, yeah, war games never really took advantage of this type of medium in books, right? They just never did. And it took a pandemic and, other people putting it out. Worthington, we have several people that have put war game books out, and I'm here for every one of them, and I enjoy it with a passion, all the different ones. Even if I may not understand the game design behind the game, I love it, and I think it's one of the greatest things. And he pretty much, Wouter here, pretty much spells out what he's done, and he's going to tell you how to use the book. And again, think of this book as a game in a box. Okay, now that's straight up. Just think of it as a game in a box. But with all the content glued together, before your first game, you will need a little time to prepare the game components. This does not require specific skills nor specialized materials. Carefully cut the spine from the book with an X-Acto knife. Create 1 or 2 books from the rule book and scenario book. You can staple the pages together or sort them in 2 binders. I would use never mind what I would use. It doesn't matter. Set the maps, ship's log, and chart sections of the book now aside. Cut the counters from the back of the book, and you can also play the game with miniatures. Or you can also play the game with miniatures. Assemble the 3 maps. You find instructions on how to do this in the map section of the book. If you don't want to assemble the maps manually or play with miniatures, you can download the maps for free on the BoardGameGeek.com file section of the game and have them printed. Yeah, that's a cool little thing to put in there and put in your book, Wouter. I appreciate it. Copy or download the ship's log pages. This book comes with 1 blank set of all the logs. You will find 2 sets of charts. You will need 5, 6 set of dice and a pen per player. Read the rule book, watch the playthrough video again, and try the tutorial scenario, The Merchant. It's game time. Yeah, I know we read all that. I know it's quite lengthy, but I thought that was important to put out there. So if people think on buying this game, what they're getting, and it's a little different, again, he's wanting you to think of this as a game in a box instead of just a book where you can take apart and do whatever, or download the maps and copy some stuff and use miniatures. That's fine too, right? And the ship's logs. So we're not going to get into a lot of this. If we want to get into most of this, you can buy the game. But here we will look at the sequence of play. The game is played for a number of turns, each scenario indicating how many turns are to be played. Each turn is divided into 4 main phases, and each phase is executed simultaneously by the players. Planning phase, movement phase, upgrading and grappling, combat phase, cannon fire, musket fire, very cool, boarding actions. Again, can't have Age of Sail without boarding, can't have a pirate game without boarding. Housekeeping phase, reloading guns, repair attempts, refloat attempts, and wind change. You will find more detailed sequence of play chart in the chart section of the book. All right, but this is it, man. That's, and it sounds like it's got everything you would want, right? Combat, cannon fire. Let's look at some of the other things. That's going to be rules. The rules do look to be somewhat extensive, with the rules section being about 33 pages, but nice big font. I can read all of that. Even I can read this. So very nicely done. The book was entirely beautifully done. Was colored, everything colored in it, everything easy readable. I like the size of the book, right? Like everything about it. The hunt. He's got the setups for the. What is it? Scenarios. You got the setups. You got the tutorial mission here. The merchant, right? Great idea. Give you a tutorial. The reckoning. Bonnet versus Blackbeard. Again, can't have a pirate game without Blackbeard, I don't think. Blackbeard. Edward Teach is probably the most famous pirate that ever sailed off the coast of the United States and in the Caribbean, right? And all through the Atlantic. So, I mean, man, you have some cool scenarios. You have some very nice, Captain Morgan. Henry Morgan, Royal Governor of Jamaica, and a very famous pirate. I see we've got someone, Captain Kidd in it. Oh, Black Bart Roberts. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, got some really Espanolis, of course. Remember, most of these, especially the English pirates, they had all been, war with Spain, and they had been privateers, many of them. And they were used to robbing Spaniards. One day that they're heroes, and the next day they keep doing the same thing, hitting those Spanish galleons, and yet now they are absolutely outlaws, right? So, very cool. The logs. You got some logs you got to take care of. Of course you would. In most games in the Age of Sail, you do have a few logs. You have some ammo to take care of, looks like. I guess it's going to be hits to crew, and mark off crew and so on. Of course you do. That's part of the game. And so, very glad to see that. And then the maps. I'm fine with the maps. The maps, which, not nice blue maps. Right? So we got the maps back here that we'll have to put together a little bit, but I'm fine with that pretty much. And you got charts. Chart section, and let's see, counters. Where's the counters? Sequence of play, the better sequence of play. Wow. Well, maybe I passed them. No, I didn't. I think that's what you're supposed to cut and use. And that's the smartest thing you could do too, because it's on the back, and it is very cool. It has counter sheet, and it is already, if you don't want a copy, it is already on cardboard. And so very well done. I like it. Gives me an idea. So gives me some ideas. So there it is, Dreaded Flag. $20 on Amazon. I'm not at all upset about that price. That price is a good price to buy this book, with what it contains and the work that's gone into it. I'm fine with $20. I think that's spot on. It's right in that area, right in that sweet spot to where you don't really feel like you overpay for anything. Absolutely. So that's a good price. So I'm pleased with the purchase. I can't speak to the how good the game is yet, because I haven't played, but and I won't do that until I do play a game. But I'm going to say it seems solid, and I can't wait to get to play it. And if I can get a few, just 3 or 4 plays out of it, really just one play, I've got my money's worth. So I'm very happy. I've already feel like I've got my money's worth now, so I'm very happy with the purchase. And I hope I get to play it soon. And I'm going to look at the video right after I get done here, play through, and I'm going to start trying to figure it out. Again, very well done. And I love to see the different books coming out, and keep them coming if y'all are and very inclined. And there's one of mine. Even I got in the action. All my books so far have been narrative based. There is a game system. They're all war games, but they're narrative based. And this one is Friday Night at Fallujah. It's a kind of experimental stuff is what I deal with. But if you would like to buy it, it is there on Amazon as well. And I'm working on another game. I'm working on a book too. I'm working on a book with the history of war games, and that's just been not a headache, a pleasure, but a lot of work. And another game it's a different game. It's going to be less narrative based. Although I still like the D66 books, narrative books. I love them. This one is going to be less narrative based, but it's still going to be a war game, and I'm gonna put my own spin on it, right? So look for that in the future. That's it's going to be different as well. Everything I do is more experimental and different, just because I look at this as my art, right? And I spend my art, and I do what I want to do with it. So that's it. Dreaded Flags. Y'all go out and get your copy today. If you're so inclined, $20, good deal. Happy with it. Very well. Very well. All right. Everybody have a great day. Stay safe out there. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.